Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0. I am the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
We're taping here on October the 6th, 2021. This will hit on the morning of the 7th. We're working with new equipment, so you'll have to bear with us. And if you don't know what I mean when I say equipment, shame on you! Shame on you for not watching the league. 6-7 years gone, but still
not
in
forgotten.
Our hearts and in our minds and in our equipment.
Yes. Equipment's for everyone.
All right. So, of course, as we talked about the last couple of weeks, now our new format for the rest of the year will be NFL Segment 1. So, talking about week 4 of the NFL season, the Bears have actually figured out a way once again to save Matt Nagy's career.
I know, but it was the Lions.
I still think there's something there with the Lions. Honestly, if it wasn't for that botch snap,
I know
that destroyed their momentum early on. And kids, I'm a Bears fan, so I'm just trying to find excuses because I like Dan Campbell. I really do.
But the Lions at this point have a culture of losing in the most bizarre, unimaginable ways possible. And it doesn't matter who's the coach. They're just cursed.
In many ways, they reflect the Bears. They do.
They do.
Because if you think about it, you got old school, centuries old ownership
group, yes.
When you look back at the generations and generations of the Ford family and the McCaskey family. And the thing is, they won't let go, but they don't know how to run an NFL program. They don't know how to run an NFL team.
That's the sad part.
And people get churned up in the system. The Lions have probably had more and better players than the Bears have had over the last 30 years. You think about it. Calvin Johnson.
Stafford.
Barry Sanders. Going way back.
Yeah.
But, like Jared Goff, I don't hate Jared Goff. I don't think he's a bad quarterback.
But
again, who is he throwing the ball to? They've got nobody. A tight end, and they've got nobody else. They've got T.J. Hawkinson and nobody else. Quentin Cephas is their number one receiver.
Yeah, and that's the name we heard all afternoon. At least
the Bears have two wide receivers.
And I wanted to go, Bo?
At least the Bears have two quality wide receivers better than Stafford's number one.
Yeah, but hands down with Robinson and Mooney.
Right. So, yes, they've got a better tight end. They've got one great tight end. We keep signing and signing.
They use their tight end. Something that the Bears need to learn how to do if they want to keep Justin Fields upright and protect him with that line if you go up against a decent defense.
Right.
Where are the little tight end screens? Seriously.
I know. And this is what infuriates me about winning this game. Is now they're 2-2, and now everybody's going, we've got a chance. We've got hope. No, we
don't have a chance in hell. All you're getting here, and it was noticeable that Bill Lazor was calling the plays, that Matt Nagy had nothing to do with it, because there was consistency in the play calling. The plays were getting in there quickly. Fields had enough time to read the defense, and there was a rhythm and a balance that you do not see when Nagy is calling the plays. They didn't have to take a stupid timeout because he couldn't get the play in time. So that has a lot going for it right there.
Right.
And you got to see what Fields can bring. The accuracy on those deep passes that he hit that is what we had been missing with Trubisky. That's what Fields shown he could do his entire time at Ohio State. And that's what you need to open up that offense.
Yeah, unfortunately, now we've got to deal with, I think we'll be okay if Damian Williams is healthy. I know he's
a little dinged up.
Yeah, he's got like a bone bruise.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not as bad as Andy Dalton's.
I don't like the whole running back by committee thing. I gave Dave a lot of crap this weekend because of his Dolphins, because I actually switched over to the Dolphins game, and then I gave him a load of crap about how bad they look because they don't know what they're doing. And I think Flores is a really good head coach. I think he's better than Matt Nagy.
But he doesn't have a coordinator to do anything.
Pick a running back. That's the one thing I like about the Bears. And I'm going full circle, going back to the Montgomery injury. Now Montgomery's out a month with the knee injury. I'm hoping Damian Williams is going to be okay to step in.
To be the main guy.
That's what you need to do, is you need to have your man, then your backup man, and I think it'll work out well for the Bears. Whereas with a team like Miami, I've been bitching and pissing and moaning about this for the last month because my fantasy team sucks, because every running back I drafted is on part of a committee. Yeah. Shitty committee. Miles Sanders, Miles Gaskin, I had to dump. What the hell, Miami?
You've got guys out there who are solid number one backs who are not getting the majority of the carries because there's two other guys that, we have to run them in there periodically.
Passing guy, short yardage guy, first down guy.
If you have a back, you use him in every situation. The only time he comes out is for a breather if he breaks a big one open or he's taken 3 or 4 straight big hits.
And the worst thing right now is the Dallas Cowboys, because now the Dallas Cowboys are finding success with this committee with Pollard and Elliott. And now they're both doing well.
That might be more of an indictment on Elliott at this point, because he has not looked his usual explosive self coming off that injury that he had.
But outside of Derrick Henry, tell me another team where there is a clear-cut number one. David Montgomery might have been number 2.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
He was the only other
behind
solid
Derrick Henry. Otherwise, all these other teams are just. I thought Tampa Bay going into the season
had a solid one.
Well, they do. Fournette. I thought they were going to go committee. Ronald Jones has disappeared. Gio Bernard was the man catching the ball out of the backfield until he got hurt last week. Yeah. So I don't know on any of these teams outside of the Tennessee Titans and the Chicago Bears who's going to carry the ball, when they're going to carry the ball.
Well, you could look at Christian McCaffrey if he's healthy and in.
Right now it's Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
And how long is that going to go? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? They didn't put
McCaffrey's supposed to be coming back this week.
He's not on the IR, so
maybe there's a chance.
But I don't like.
He'll get a hangnail.
Here's one that's going to burn all Bears fans out there, and I'm sure it's going to burn the Conquistador as well as it pisses me off. Cordarrelle Patterson goes over to the Falcons. We had him. We knew he had potential. Nobody's ever exploited his potential.
No.
And now, even though Atlanta is a terrible team, that's the one thing they've got going for him, is they're using him as a running back, a wide receiver, and he's tearing it up right now.
Yeah, and you saw the Bears started to use him in that role a little bit, but not nearly enough as he should have been.
No. And right now, through the first month of the season, he is a fantasy stud.
Right.
But again, a lot of people coming in. Mike Davis was supposed to be the be-all, end-all because Todd Gurley's career is basically over.
Yeah, and now they're running.
Now Patterson's, they're running all these tricks and these stunts with Patterson as a wide receiver, as a running back. Kyle Pitts. Never draft a tight end as high as they did. Don't do it, kids.
No, it doesn't.
Why would you draft a tight end in the top 10? What? Kyle Pitts has done nothing.
No, if you're going to draft him, then you use his ass.
Right. And we talked about this. That team is about ready to implode. It's going to be Matt Ryan or Aaron Rodgers as the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh next year. Mark my words.
Oh, yeah.
One of those two is going to be starting in Pittsburgh next year
They
because Ben's done.
Yeah, it's over. They've got no choice but to run him out there because their two
Mason
backups
Rudolph
are useless.
and Dwayne Haskins, yeah.
You can't get anything out of them. Oh, by the way, hey, Pittsburgh, we got Nick Foles available.
Yeah, we still can't get and we talked about Cam Newton. Nobody's picking up Cam Newton.
No, how bad has he been? Not showing anything.
How bad is it that nobody wants to take a chance on him?
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Because now they can sign him for the bare minimum, and they won't. They won't.
There's nothing on the hook. And actually, Andy Dalton's actually probably available right now too, because just today, Nagy committed to Fields as the starter going forward the rest of the season.
Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know if you've got to keep a veteran backup.
You do. Which one do you want, Foles or Dalton?
I'd rather have Dalton. Foles looked so bad last year at the end.
Yeah.
That I can't. I'd rather have Dalton. I really would. But the problem is financially, which one's easier to get rid of with the lesser financial penalty?
Right.
Now, talking about this, two other big names have been released.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one was released, one was getting ready to be released, and at the last second got traded. So
right. The Patriots made the big splash.
Right. Stephon Gilmore. I was wondering about this because he did not play in the big game, the return, quote unquote, Sunday night. I was wondering, why aren't they showing Stephon Gilmore in the starting lineup for the Patriots defense? And it turns out something's wrong. There's some kind of, animosity, something going on between him and the front office. So rumor was early today they were going to cut him.
Right.
And then at the last minute, the Panthers made a deal. That intrigues me. Yeah. That really intrigues me because now that Panthers defense has been playing pretty well.
This kind of gives them a little added edge.
Yeah. And this isn't like the Buccaneers adding Richard Sherman.
This is actually
I'm sure he was so happy he recovered a fumble. Otherwise, he got torched.
Badly
all through the night. But then, this one really, the Cowboys released Jalen Smith.
I know, that
young
kind of boggled the mind.
He missed his first year because he had
the knee
injury from Notre Dame.
But then he's played solid ball for him. He was one of their best defensive players.
They owe him, I think, over $7 million for this year by cutting him.
Yeah.
But I think that what they're trying to avoid is next year there's a guarantee of something about $9 million.
So they're trying to do a cost-cutting move.
Well, I don't think they trust him to be healthy.
That could be. We don't know what's behind the scenes.
Somebody is going to jump all over that.
Yeah,
somebody is going to jump all over that. Now, I don't know if the rules are the same as they are with Cam Newton, where you had to wait
X amount of weeks.
Right. Or if they can claim Jalen Smith right away. I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll see. That could be a huge add for somebody's defense, though.
All right. Explain to me why the Dolphins and the Bears made the trade.
Oh, I can. Absolutely, I can.
Because Miami is done with Grant for his little hiccups to start the season?
Outside of defense, what is the one thing over the last 20 years the Bears could always look at?
The return game.
Devin Hester, Cordarrelle Patterson.
And we don't have anybody now. And with Grant being one of the top punt and kick returners over the last several years, there you go.
I think that's what the Bears are looking at.
2023 sixth rounder for him. Man. Good for the Bears.
Yeah, but he's got a big contract, though. That's the thing.
He does, and kind of scary. And then now you're looking, he's a wide receiver as well. They trade him. All right, now here's a shock for the Dolphins. Will Fuller is hurt again.
Yeah.
Injured his hand now.
Yeah.
And so they're down a receiver, and they just let somebody go. Brilliant timing.
Well, Devontae Parker actually showed up and had a good game, so they figure he's okay now.
Yeah, but you still need somebody else to take some of the pressure off.
Will Fuller is going to end up being one of those guys, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
The potential he showed in Houston, coming out of Notre Dame, I think he's an arrogant asshole, but he showed a lot of potential on the field when he was healthy, but he's never healthy.
This is one guy who's more injury plagued than Christian McCaffrey.
Yes. Oh, God, yes. God, yes. So, speaking of your Dolphins, boy, they're a mess. They could be worse than the Bears right now.
There's no doubt about that in my mind. The
Colts win their first game.
Down in Miami.
27-17.
And it didn't even look...
And again, what I talked about...
That score was closer than it looked from what the bits I saw of it.
What I can say, and I'm not talking about my fantasy team, is that you have got to get a running back, establish a running game. Stop it.
What?
Malcolm Brown. We'll give Malcolm Brown, Myles Gaskin, Jacoby. Now everybody's talking about, oh my God, now Tua's going to be a bust.
I think it's too early to go there, but he's going to have to show, can he stay healthy?
He is going to have to bring this team back and make them a legitimate contender. Get them to 7-9. Well, again, 17 games. Sorry, 7-10, 8-9.
He's
going to have to do something to redeem himself and Coach Flores.
Yeah,
because otherwise, this is looking like a disaster.
Yeah, well, it also goes to the GM as well, who has not done a whole hell of a lot here either.
Right.
So they're just a screwed up, jacked up mess.
Buccaneers did pull out the win on Tom Brady's return to New England.
Yep. Thankfully, the missed last-second field goal.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, what do? I decide to dump Tampa Bay's kicker after 3 weeks of nothing, and of course, he ends up kicking a ton of field goals for the Bucs. It's fantasy football. Kickers and defenses, kiss my ass. You just kiss my ass, all right? I'm tired.
Thanks, Robbie Gould, for not bothering to play.
Yeah. I'm just tired of it. I'm going with your strategy. I'm going with you and the elder statesman. Just stream it every week. Every week. What is the point?
There isn't one. It's, yeah.
This literally, and I'm not saying this because I'm 1-3 in the Sports Frenzy League. This has been the worst year for fantasy football in the history of mankind.
This is...
I don't know who to play, when to play. DeAndre Hopkins has been terrible. Julio Jones. I don't have Julio Jones. Julio Jones is terrible.
Here you go. Case in point for me. Last 3 weeks with Tyreek Hill. 5 points.
Yeah.
10 points. 47 points.
To beat me. Thanks a lot, Tariq. And now they're bringing Josh Gordon in. So what does that do
to Tariq?
For Tyreek Hill? What does that do for his catches and his touches?
God, this is just a cluster from hell. It's bad.
Tight ends are terrible.
My God, tight ends are awful.
It's ridiculous. If you don't have Kelsey or Waller, Kittle's been terrible.
Yeah, he's not been good at all.
It's ridiculous. It's a crapshoot. I am hoping
heads or tails,
stumble into the playoffs at maybe 8-7,
maybe,
hopefully, or 8-6. Since we don't play that last week, Jesus God,
it's ugly as hell.
We have to talk before we get to our picks about Urban Meyer.
I almost saved him for dumbass.
I knew you were going to, but we know this.
But actually,
this
no.
More.
I didn't know if it was he is the dumbass or if it's the Jaguars being the dumbasses for the way they're treating it, or if it's the media in general for the coverage it's getting.
You know what? I was kind of torn like you are about it because, number one, in this day and age, I don't know if it's that big of a deal. But they're making it, he didn't travel back with the team.
Okay, guess what? He was close enough to visit his grandchild and have dinner with family. And that's where he was, and these people came up to him.
Right.
And it's such a short clip that you don't know really what happened. You just saw her dancing, trying to give him a lap dance, but his hands are like between his legs on the bar stool, keeping her away. I think he was saying, just leave me alone.
Right.
You don't know because it's such a short thing. You don't know what happened.
Right.
You can't make a distinction.
And he's had to apologize, and now the Jaguars have come out and
you got to rebuild your trust.
Yeah. You better be careful. You better be really careful because I guarantee we haven't seen this before in the NFL. Even Nick Saban lasted a couple years. Steve Spurrier lasted a couple years. If you push him too far, he's going to go to USC.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
I mean, there are people out there that think he did this on purpose to try to say. I don't think that's the case.
No.
But if you're going to start doing the cancel culture crap on him here with this, and I'm with you, I don't know if this is really an egregious offense.
No, there's so much worse stuff that's been done.
Push him. Just keep pushing him. He will take the USC job. He will tell Shad Khan, screw you.
Kiss my ass.
I tried to rebuild your program, your little shitty Jacksonville program.
And if you're getting all hot and bothered over this, you've got bigger problems, buddy. And I'm sorry.
Talk to your kid. Your kid's running wrestling, okay?
Yeah, tell me there's not anything going on there.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry, but this does not deserve the amount of coverage it's got.
I agree. I'm with you 100%.
Completely overblown.
Is 100% right on this. This is overblown, and it's a shame that Urban Meyer's got to go through this. I'm not saying he is the most pious, wonderful man.
No, he's an asshat.
But this is not something that deserves to go under the microscope
the way it's been.
Right. Just doesn't.
Dumb.
All right, finally, before we move on to our picks, the Broncos are mad at the Ravens.
Wah, wah, wah.
Because they tried to keep their record going for most consecutive games with 100 yards rushing.
I don't have a problem with it. They were really damn close. You don't get a chance to set records very often. Take advantage of the opportunity.
Right. And Vic Fangio, of course, says, oh, this is what we expect. Come on, nobody says that. Most people say John Harbaugh is one of the most likable, charismatic, intelligent, respected guys out there in terms of head coaches in the NFL.
Yeah, this is Fangio being a crusty old curmudgeon.
Yeah.
And just because your team couldn't stop him.
He knows that this 3-1 record is going to go 3-8 pretty soon, real quick.
I'm
sorry,
fast.
but it's
if anybody
believes in the Broncos right now, you're out of your mind. Speaking of which, time to go to the picks. The Broncos are on the slate this week, so let's go through our picks for NFL Week 5.
Gunk, gunk.
Tomorrow night, the big game. Thursday night actually gets a big game.
Finally, something decent.
The Rams at the Seahawks. You called it last week. I give you props for it. Now, I told you I was that close.
That close.
But I didn't pull the trigger, and you did, and you were right.
I did.
The Seahawks go in and beat the 49ers. Again, Jimmy Garoppolo can't stay healthy.
Nope, another China doll.
So now, and the Rams get beat up by the Cardinals. So now are the Cardinals really that good?
Are they that good, or did the Rams just have a hiccup?
It was a home game for the Rams.
It was. Maybe they got a little overconfident.
All right,
I don't
so
know.
Rams at Seahawks, Thursday night the 7th. You and I, along with the elder statesman and the Big Easy, are taking the LA Rams, where
Yep.
Bill, Nick, and Doug are taking the Seahawks. About what I expect.
Yep.
Close to 50-50.
Yes, the Seahawks won. I just don't think that they can pull off a win against the Rams at this point. I think the Rams will be bouncing back.
I agree. Sunday the 10th, Packers at the Bengals. I was impressed. I actually did watch that entire Thursday night game, believe it or not, because we always talk about how we could watch any crappy NFL game. I did watch the entire Jacksonville Bengals game. It was great. It was a really good game.
I watched the end of it. That was
Lawrence looked good.
Yeah.
Burrow looked good. Both teams really looked good. There were no turnovers.
It was a competitive game. Yes. It was fun to watch.
The future of the NFL is looking good. That being said, Packers at Bengals, man bun will win.
Yeah, I have to go with the Packers as well on this one.
Again, we're 4-3. We got 7 of our 8 panelists in right now. We got 4 picks for the Packers, 3 for the Bengals. I like the way the Bengals play ball. They're very controlled, but Mixon might be out.
Yeah.
You turn that team into a one-dimensional team, the Packers will win.
Definitely.
Broncos at Steelers. There you go. There's your Broncos.
It's the damn Steelers who look so damn inept.
But they're at home.
They're so inept. They don't have anything.
Again, close to being even. We've got 4 picks for the Broncos, 3 for the Steelers. I got to take the Steelers. Vic Fangio, Teddy Bridgewater. I just listen to those 2 names and my head starts to shrink.
I know, but I couldn't do it with the Steelers. I just don't have any faith in what they have out there.
Again, like we talked about last week, the Steelers are 1 year too late in going out and trying to get a quarterback to replace their veteran.
And now they're going to have to get a veteran stopgap next year.
Yep. Saints at Washington. I like the way Washington played last week. They surprised me.
They are showing some spirit out there, and the Saints, what the hell are they?
That's why I can't trust them. I cannot trust them.
They don't know what the hell they're doing.
You and I and the elder statesmen are all simpatico on that. Everybody else is taking New Orleans, but I trust Tyler Heineke more than I trust Jameis Winston right now. What does that say?
God help us. And I think part of it's the play calling down in New Orleans too.
Yeah, and as much as I love Sean Payton,
he's getting in his own way.
That team, something is always wrong with that team. They never get everything clicking and the gears never sync up.
Yeah.
It's just there's always something wrong. As much as I love him and I want to keep saying he's the second best head coach in the NFL,
we can't.
He keeps trying to destroy it.
Yeah.
Great game here. Eagles, Panthers, Doug's taking the Eagles. He's crazy.
Panthers,
Browns at Chargers is the one I'm talking about. This could be an unbelievable game. This is
going to be a hell of a game.
I'm glad you have some common sense because the first 3 picks I got in were the Browns.
Browns.
And then everybody finally, you came in, I came in, and Nick and Aaron came in with the Chargers. The Chargers should win this game hands down.
They should. They have an equal defense
and a much
better offense.
I don't like Baker Mayfield. I don't. Sorry. 49ers at Cardinals. I can't go against the Cardinals right now.
No,
hottest
they're
team in
too
football.
Damn hot.
Big game Sunday night. Bills at Chiefs AFC Championship preview. I went back and forth on this. I just don't see the Chiefs going 2-3. This should be the second and possibly the last loss for the Bills in the regular season.
It could be, but the Bills right now are so much more in sync than the Chiefs that I had to go with the Bills on the road.
So Dave, Bill, and Doug take the Bills. Everybody else takes the Chiefs. There we go. We burned through another NFL segment before we actually got to talk about everything we wanted to. We'll be right back with college football, kids. Stay tuned.
Yes. Listen, you will, to Sports Frenzy 2.0, you must. Much to learn from the maestro and conquistador there is for entertainment every Saturday. On Spotify, Anchor, Google, Apple, and everywhere are they found.
All right, kids, segment 2 of Sports Frenzy 2.0 here as we record October 6, 2021, hitting on the 7th. NCAA football time with me, the conquistador Dave Height.
And the maestro Kevin Crane.
And getting into this one, wow, some pretty big losses that came out this last week.
Yeah, so far, my ultimate plan of destruction
is coming to fruition.
Yes. Even though, like you mentioned last week, we could be looking at the 12-team playoff far off in the distance. Let's screw up the 4-team playoff as much as we can right now.
Possibly can.
Thank
you, Cincinnati, for taking that next step for that grand plan. Upsetting Notre Dame at Notre Dame Stadium.
24-13. It was close early. But then you could see Cincinnati kind of establishing their dominance.
Yeah, that's Notre Dame's offense was 3 and out. The defense held Notre Dame in that game in the first half, but they were gassed in the second half. There was nothing they could do.
And I know we talked about this earlier, and I hate to jump you with this, but this is kind of one of our sports frenzy tangents that I'm famous for.
Oh, here we go down the rabbit trail.
Yeah. Because the Conquistador is a big Notre Dame fan. So I want to ask you, would you rather have a coach like Ed Orgeron, and we'll get to LSU later, who wins one title, but otherwise is a pretty mediocre coach? Or would you rather have Brian Kelly, who can win 8, 9, 10 games a year, but you never sniff a title?
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
You might as well ask me, do I want Jimbo Fisher?
I was going to say it's like Joe Madden with the Cubs. Oh, Jimbo Fisher's worse. I'd rather have Ed Orgeron. Jimbo,
God.
I think the LSU win with Ed Orgeron was more impressive than what Jimbo did with Florida State.
Now we're finding out what a crap fest that was with all the problems that program covered up.
But the thing is, Orgeron's a guy who can really jumpstart a program for 3 or 4 years before it falls apart. Kelly is steady.
He's steady,
but he doesn't have what it takes to push a team over the top.
He does. Notre Dame is not that destination for the big recruits that are needed.
I disagree. I still think there are I see a lot of big names being recruited to Notre Dame, a lot of top recruits. You know, you want to talk about ESPN's list or whoever. They are coming to Notre Dame. No, they're going to Alabama more. They're going to Clemson more. Although now
Clemson's looking a little
one bad year. I'm telling you, one bad year. Georgia's the one right now.
Georgia's the one that
these kids are looking at Georgia and they're going. The parents are looking at Georgia, going, "Hey, maybe Kirby Smart's got something going on there." That right now could be the team that unseats Clemson as the number 2 to Alabama.
I wouldn't be surprised if before long maybe Georgia takes out Alabama.
Well, Saban's going to retire. I think at some point soon. It's got to be soon. He's getting up there in years. He takes good care of himself, but I can't see him going more than 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 more, yeah.
Right. You're right. Kirby
Depending
Smart,
on who the heir apparent would be.
And if Kirby Smart builds that program up at Georgia, I don't think you would do to me, it'd be barely a move up. It's almost a lateral move to go from Georgia to Alabama at that point.
At that point, it would be. Why would you leave what you're
Because
building?
remember when Bear Bryant left Alabama, Ray Perkins took over, and it was just a shit show for years before he finally got the program back up again.
Yeah. There's going to be a
hard.
downturn.
It's really hard. Like we talked about Jimbo Fisher, we both agree. He is so overrated, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God, so overrated, so freaking overpaid. That was absolute stupidity.
Did what Larry Coker did at the U. Larry Coker took over the fumes that were left over from Erickson and Johnson and the recruiting and the prestige and, you know, the legend that they had built up. And he got that one championship.
And then it went in the toilet.
Because he couldn't build on it.
Yeah, that's what Jimbo did down at Florida State.
Right. He built on Bobby Bowden's legacy. And the minute he realized it wasn't going to work, he dashed for cash.
Yeah.
Basically. It was like a college game show. He dashed for cash. And now look at A&M's not even in the top 25 right now. And now they're going to get beat down big time by Saban this weekend.
Yeah.
A&M, you get what you deserve.
Yeah, if you want to jump ship, there you go.
Right. Sometimes
you overpay for mediocrity.
Sometimes you show patience. Sometimes you try to find the diamond in the rough.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And I'm gonna bring those points up again here when we get to one of our games on our college slate, because you've got two coaches in the Big Ten who I think fit that bill to a T.
Oh, yes. That's going to be a fun discussion when we get to it.
So, let's jump into it. Why not?
Oh, we're going picks early?
Why not?
Why not? What the hell?
Yeah, I got nothing else. Other than Oregon losing, it disappoints me, but it doesn't shock me.
Yeah, because we talked about they have one game a year that they should win, that they cracked the bed.
Right. Looking back at last week, yeah.
And then Arkansas getting absolutely destroyed by Georgia.
Right. Yeah. Again, Wisconsin getting beat up again. Wisconsin's having there are teams out there that you don't expect to actually make the Final Four, to make the playoffs, but we've talked about this.
Where they should at least be in contention.
Wisconsin should always be a top 10, top 15 team. They crap the bed.
Yeah. So getting back to Arkansas with that big loss, getting shut out. That's now 6 quarters they've gone without scoring.
And Arkansas was on the up. They were on the rise.
On the up. And then a couple weeks ago, Jefferson got hurt and was in and out of the lineup, and then they couldn't score, and then they failed to do anything again. So they're reeling, and I don't know that they're going to recover.
And we'll get to that game in a minute. But the big game between them and Mississippi could be for number 3 in the SEC, that showdown. You and I called this. We didn't pick it, but we talked about this. I told you the rumors were that Herm Edwards was going to come up big against Chip Kelly and UCLA, and boy, did they come up. 19-point win, 42-23. We all had UCLA. We bought into Chip Kelly. I'm done. I am done with that.
Chip Kelly is stick a fork in him. But
Herm always wins a couple, 2-3 games like this every year. But he can't win the ones he needs to.
Should. Yeah, he's got a mediocre program.
And this is why the Pac-12 will just be a wash, a sludge fest with Oregon, like we said, losing. Yeah, you've got no chance right now. No chance for anybody in the Pac-12 to make the playoffs.
No, none at all.
And at least that opens the door for Cincinnati.
God, please let them continue to roll at this point.
We were wrong. Well, you were wrong. I was right. I stuck with him for one more week. The mullet. First time.
Wow.
5-0 in ages.
Oof.
Jeff Gundy is 5-0 for the first time in forever as they beat number 21 Baylor, OK State.
Man, I was happy to see it. I didn't think that was going to happen. I guessed the wrong week.
Yeah, I'm with you, though. I'm scared to death.
You see it coming down the line. It is going to be there.
I would love to have 1 year. 1 year. Because he's like Orgeron. That you think about it. You put you put Orgeron, Leach, Gundy in a bucket. Kirk Ferentz, as good as Iowa looks right now,
Ferentz is another one you can't trust.
But they look fantastic right now.
They always do up until just past the halfway point of the season.
I know, and they're going to shit the bed. And everybody is getting all excited about Iowa.
This is going to be interesting with where they're going, who they're hosting coming up this week.
All right, now we'll get into the picks. This one, I think, will determine a lot. Neutral site game, Saturday the 9th. Number 6, Oklahoma. Number 21, Texas.
It's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be fun.
I took Texas.
I couldn't do it.
Oklahoma just isn't scoring any points where Texas, at least, is putting up massive
Oklahoma is
amounts
coming
of
off
points.
their best offensive showing. They actually looked like they were finally starting to figure it out.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one, kids.
Don't
Everybody
have
else
any
going
faith
Oklahoma.
in Texas right now. I think Oklahoma found something.
I'm thinking this is going to be a shootout, like a 41-38 Texas upset. Knock Oklahoma out, again, opening the path
for Cincinnati.
Or BYU even.
Yeah, BYU's looking pretty good right now.
We got them coming up here too. Again, I am restrained this year for the first time ever in my putting together the slate of picks. So all picks have to be under 10 points.
On the spread.
So this one might not sound like it's a great game, but the spread was within my parameters, and I love Greg Schiano, so I had to put number 11 Michigan State at Rutgers. Nobody is bought into Rutgers on our slate. Everybody's going with the Spartans. I'm telling you, this could bite us all in the ass. I'm telling you.
I flipped a coin on this one, literally.
But Rutgers has gotten beat up by 2 top-level teams the last 2 weeks. So everybody thinks this is where they're going to start to slide back. They're going to start getting, depressed, and the kids are going to start going, oh, my God, we're not that good.
Maybe whatever.
Schiano will fix that. Trust me.
But not necessarily this week.
Yeah. I like the way Michigan State is playing. I really do. Then we move on to the game you were talking about earlier, number 13 Arkansas at number 17 Mississippi. Now, obviously, you're not trusting Arkansas.
I am not trusting Arkansas right now. Mississippi is looking like they've got the much more consistent play going right now.
I agree. So does Sam and Bill. Nick, Doug, and Aaron go with Arkansas.
Gonna ride that board.
I'll take Lane Kiffin. As much of a schizophrenic nut job coach as he is, he might have finally found a home. Maybe
quite possibly.
He found his arch nemesis, his arch rival in his old coach, Nick Saban, even though they just beat up on him.
But
maybe he's finally realized what I need to do is just stick with Mississippi.
Stay somewhere and actually maybe take it seriously for once.
Right. Be like Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh could have bailed on Michigan and he's stuck with Michigan. He's still trying to make it a better program.
Or as Michigan hasn't bailed on him yet.
Again, I said this last week, this has got to be the year for him to at least, I'm not saying win a title,
Win
but finish
the Big
in the top
10.
10. Finish in the top 10.
How about you actually beat Ohio State first?
Right. Okay, West Virginia, Baylor. Everybody's taking Baylor except Nick is taking West Virginia.
There you go.
Boise State at number 10, BYU. Everybody taking BYU.
Boise State is just
They are not as good as the legend, the Bluefield legend.
Yeah, they have fallen the last 2 years. And it's, for what Peterson built up before he turned the reins over and sat out a year before going to Washington. That guy could build a program. That's somebody that needs to have another job.
Yeah. Big game of the week for the Big Ten. Number 4, Penn State. At number 3, Iowa. Can I just say this?
Iowa and pedophile state.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying. I hate Penn State. After the Sandusky thing, I'll never, ever, ever root for Penn State in anything ever again. I don't believe this is number 3 hosting number 4.
No, it's not. It is not. Both teams are overrated.
But Penn State, I think, is much more overrated than Iowa.
Yes,
Iowa has shown that they could actually be a contender for the Big Ten title. Penn State, what has Penn State done to warrant?
They have done nothing.
A number 4 ranking.
They have done nothing.
You and I take Iowa. Sam and Aaron take Penn State. Nick, Doug, and Bill are with us with the Hawkeyes.
There you go.
I don't even think it's a 2.5 point spread as we tape.
How is it even that close?
This is going to be a 2 touchdown win. And I like James Franklin. I think he's a great head coach. He went into Penn State.
He went into a horrible situation.
Right. He's a guy that needs to jump ship at the first opportunity and get himself into he should be going to USC.
He's being mentioned for USC, he's also being mentioned for LSU because let's face it, Orgeron's on the hot seat right now.
Either one of those 2 jobs, I would take him. I still like Orgeron, but Orgeron, again, 3-4 years, burns everything up, wears out his welcome, gone.
Yeah.
Franklin seems more like he's a steady presence that can build a program, and he will stay with it for a long time.
Yeah, he has built up that Penn State program back.
I could see him at USC here by year's end.
Yeah.
Definitely by year's end. TCU at Texas Tech, couple of high-scoring teams.
This was tough to pick, but I got to go with TCU. I just don't have a feel or faith for Texas Tech.
The fact that Texas Tech burned me last week, went on the road and beat West Virginia, Texas Tech will outscore TCU.
We'll see.
In a high-scoring affair. Right now we're 4-3 TCU. Bill agrees with me. Doug agrees with me. Aaron, Nick, Dave, and Sam for TCU. We're unanimous. We do not think Virginia Tech, even though they're at home, will be able to handle the Irish bouncing back from the Cincinnati loss. Although I think it's going to be a very close game.
It's going to be damn close. Va Tech is going to put up a fight. But I just, like you said, I don't see Notre Dame losing 2 in a row.
Yep. LSU, we just talked about Ed Orgeron going into surprising number 16 Kentucky.
Coming off a big win.
And we're all taking Kentucky because LSU has had 2 disappointing losses on their slate this year. I don't trust them. They were at home last week against Auburn. I don't like Auburn. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. That team is not that good, yet somehow they go in and beat LSU at home. In Baton Rouge.
Inexcusable.
Right. That's why I'm done with LSU for this year.
Yep.
I'll take Kentucky.
Agreed.
Probably the toughest game on the slate. The lone Pac-12 game, Utah at USC. USC in transition, of course, as we talked about, looking for a new head coach. Utah, again.
Is Utah?
Yeah, sometimes good, sometimes bad.
It's
Doug and Aaron are taking Utah. The rest of us are sticking with the Trojans.
At home.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. It's pick the home team in this one.
Yeah, basically. When in doubt, go with the home team.
Yeah, this has been probably the most interesting college football season we've had so far in quite a while. And again, I am rooting. I'm not making any bones about it. I'm rooting for a BYU or Cincinnati
or both
to get into that top 4. As much as I love both of them, I'll take one. Because I don't believe the powers that be will let it happen.
If they're both undefeated, they damn well should
that
be
won't
there.
Oh, bullshit.
Bullshit.
Know.
You know
what about
that,
Coastal Carolina? They go undefeated. They're not even going to get a whiff of the top 4. Think about it.
Yeah, I know.
They've got a shot, too. Technically, they have a shot.
UCF.
Years and years ago. UCF right now is playing terrible
They're
football.
Playing terrible, but how many years did they go undefeated in a row?
Right.
Never got an opportunity.
Loss. Yeah. No, the Power 5 still rules the playoff system.
Because that's where the money is.
That's why I want Cincinnati or BYU, 2 teams, if they go undefeated and, okay, fine, Alabama and Georgia can't go undefeated.
They can't. They're going to have...
Eventually, somebody's going to lose there. One of them is going to lose. And you know damn well the committee's going to put, if they both go undefeated, and then the one team loses, Georgia gets beat by Alabama or vice versa,
but we have to put them in because they lost. We are so freaking sick of seeing teams play each other 2 or 3 damn times. It's not fun.
The best thing right now that's happening is the collapse of the ACC. Because right now, there's no way in holy hell you can justify, and I don't care if they win out the rest of the schedule, there is not one team. Notre Dame doesn't count.
No.
But Notre Dame even's got 1 loss. And they would be hard-pressed to justify putting Notre Dame in against an undefeated Cincinnati who beat them.
Right.
Or an undefeated BYU.
You can't.
You've got a 2-loss Clemson team out there.
Who doesn't
and
deserve
the rest
anything.
of the ACC is trash. Trust me, I root for one of those teams. That's trash.
Yeah.
Okay?
An ACC champion from the championship game does not deserve a sniff of getting into the Final Four.
Again, another good thing for all of us who want this thing to blow up, the Pac-12 ain't doing much better.
No,
with Oregon losing, that was their one hope. So now you're looking at probably, I hate to say it, at least 2 SEC teams getting in.
God. No. I'm sick of this shit.
Iowa, Penn State's going to knock one of those 2 out this week.
Yep.
And then we'll see where the chips fall.
It's going to get interesting. And sane minds will not prevail.
No, they won't.
It's all going to be about the money.
Yep. They'll find some way, somehow, to put a big money school in with 1 or 2 losses over if Cincinnati would stumble or a BYU would stumble.
A 2-loss team from a power conference would get in over a 1 loss, which is ridiculous.
Yes. But we've got much more time in the future to rant about that. It's too early.
Oh, we're just getting started, kids.
Yeah. We got 2-3 months to go railing on this stuff. But next segment, we will be looking at the start of the MLB playoffs, and the Evil Empire's fallen. Yes!
Evil
And-
Empire East. Now we can only hope the Evil Empire West falls as well.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but but I was just happy to see the Evil Empire East go down last night.
Yes.
And then, of course, Talladega.
The Dega disaster.
I don't think Dave and I are going to see eye to eye on the Talladega outcome, but we shall discuss here in the next segment, kids. So you stay tuned.
You're just bitter.
No, not because of my driver, because of the whole outcome. And not just because of who won. We'll discuss. We've got 30 minutes to discuss the next segment. We'll deal with it. We'll be right back. When your day of dealing with international intrigue is over and you've settled down in your Aston Martin, call up Sports Frenzy 2.0 on your phone or smart car stereo. Every Thursday, Kev and Dave will take your mind off the megalomaniac who just had a laser pointed at your genitals with the best sports criticism around. And don't forget to listen to the Weekend Edition every Saturday so you can plan out your entertainment options with the femme fatale of your choice. Grab a martini, shaken, not stirred, and check out Frenzy, Sports Frenzy 2.0. Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Frenzy 2.0. I am the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
Taping here on October the 6th, 2021. This will hit the morning of the 7th. Right now, the Cardinals and the Dodgers are locked up in their titanic battle
for the wild card game.
And last night, of course, the Evil Empire got knocked out to all of our ecstasy.
Yes, we are so happy. Now, if the Cardinals or the Dodgers.
Well, if you think about it, I was looking at this last night while I was watching the Red Sox pummel the Yankees. You really have arguably the four most historic franchises in baseball
in the wild card,
in the two wild card games.
Yeah,
you really do.
I know. And that being said, I would rather see the Cardinals move on than the overpriced Dodgers.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Cardinals started so slow this year, yet they just barreled through the second half, had that massive win streak
to finish off.
Right.
Yeah.
So you would say, okay, they're the hottest team. Kershaw's out again. And we'll talk about him in a little bit because I want to get your opinion on Clayton Kershaw. But
yeah,
do you take the hot team or do you take the more consistent, higher payroll team?
When you hit the playoffs, it's all about the momentum you have.
Max Muncy is out, one of the big bats for the Dodgers.
Yep.
You got Goldschmidt and Arenado in that lineup for the Cardinals. You do have Wainwright pitching for the Cardinals. That's the problem I have with that. With them is that outside of Wainwright,
they
who's
don't have
40
anything.
years old, you don't really have a pitching staff.
No, but and at 40, Wainwright has still been dominant.
And he just got another year extended.
Go figure.
He wants to be the Tom Brady of MLB is what he wants to be.
Why not?
Yeah.
And then you got Dodgers tonight as we tape Max Scherzer, who it's been debated should he have started this one, because down the stretch over the last month, he has not been the dominant pitcher that you would expect him to be.
Well, and you look back at last night with Garrett Cole with the Yankees, you could arguably say Garrett Cole and Max Scherzer are the two best pitchers in baseball. And they both
have
Cole for different reasons. Cole's younger. Scherzer's on the back end of his career. I still think he's got 2 or 3 good years left.
But he's not Cole the number one.
Cole should have his entire career still in front of him. It's still 5 or 6 really good years left, and he looked terrible last night. He really did.
Yeah.
And now you're saying Scherzer's not looking good.
Coming into it, can he be the Scherzer of old? We'll have to see.
And Urias is the one who won 20 games, the only 20-game winner in the majors this year for the Dodgers. But he wasn't overpowering.
He wasn't, but he was consistent.
Right. Well, and then you go on the flip side in this game tonight with Wainwright. He won 17.
Yeah.
And he wasn't exactly the most dominant pitcher of all time either.
No, but he knows how to pitch.
Right. These guys know how to win. Look,
you don't have to throw 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, I hate to bring up the Cubs. It's the only time I'll bring up the Cubs for the next 6 months because they suck so bad. They finished the season at 71 and 91. But Kyle Hendricks won 14 games, and he had a miserable season. But he knew at certain points in the middle of the season how to win, and he went on a long winning streak.
He did.
But he was a terrible pitcher overall this year.
Yeah, that was uncharacteristic for him.
Right. But he still pulls off 14 wins. So we go back to win the Cy Young Award. They started just giving it away to what they thought was the best pitcher, like Felix Hernandez. I think he won it with 9 wins one year.
Yeah, because he never got any run support.
Right.
And so the bullpen blew how many games
and I think that's what they're looking at now is we're not going to just base it on wins.
You got to look at ERA, strikeouts, whip,
right,
all of that.
Right. And I think that's fair. Now, I will not go as far as some of the stat geeks go and say wins don't matter. I don't believe that for a second. I think wins do matter.
Wins do matter.
But they're overrated compared to what they were 30 years ago.
Right. Now,
like Urias' 20 wins for the Dodgers aren't as impressive as maybe Wainwright 17 or what Scherzer's done. I think he's got 16. Because, again, I don't think Urias has been as dominant as those other 2 guys.
Right. This is kind of his coming out year, right, almost. So, and now you can't really look at wins anymore with the specialized bullpens because your starters are lucky if they get into the 6th inning. Maybe the 7th inning. They don't go deep anymore. And there's more of a chance for the bullpen to blow it.
Right. And I think that's the next stat correction you're going to see is that they're going to change the requirements for a win. I wouldn't be shocked if they say you only have to pitch 4 1/3 to win a game.
That possibly. Because sometimes you're 5 and done.
Or they're saying they could put it in the hands of the official scorer
to determine.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I hate to do that.
See, because that's the other thing is if you give up 1 run and you're down, or if you're down by 1 run when you leave and your team comes back the inning after you're pulled, you're hosed.
Right. You can be down 2-1. You pitch a great game through 7, and then they come back and your team comes back in the 8th, scores 2.
Yeah.
And the bullpen guy gets the win.
Or you're down by 1 after 5, you get pulled, and then they score in the 6th.
Right.
Really?
It's a really tricky question.
Yeah.
I'm an old school baseball guy, so I would have to think about this a lot.
Long and hard.
Right. I am not going to discount wins like the stat geeks do, but at the same time, I understand
the evolution.
That it's not as important as it used to be. When you let your starting pitcher go 7, 8, 9 innings.
Yeah.
All right, so your White Sox are in the playoffs. They are facing, as we predicted for weeks and weeks,
the Astros.
Yes.
Down in Houston. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Well, I want insight. I want your feelings. How is this going to go for you?
The Sox cannot commit any errors. They have to play flawless defense. You cannot give an extra out to this Astros team. They make too much contact and would take advantage of that. Sox pitching has to be as consistent as it has been. Kimbrel has to pull his head out of his ass when he's used. He's just been brutal down the stretch in the 8th inning. I don't know how much leeway he's going to get from La Russa. The bats, that's what scares me. We've been getting guys on base over the last month of the season, but we have not been able to bring them home. And it's getting the hits with runners on scoring position is what concerns me.
I think the good thing for the White Sox is that their rotation is better, in my opinion.
I like our starting rotation, and I like our bullpen overall better.
I like the fact that the Astros players have been there before. Altuve,
that's the big
Correa,
thing.
They've been there before. They know how to play in big pressure, big time situations.
At least last year, the Sox got a whiff of that.
Right.
And we've got a manager who knows how to win in the postseason. The Astros with Dusty has a habit of blowing it.
Dusty can get you to the World Series. Now, here's the thing. I think Dusty can match La Russa. If it was the World Series, I'd bet against Dusty. But Dusty has a way to make it through the playoffs and look good, and then he can't win the big one.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting chess match between Dusty and La Russa.
Yeah, this will go 5. This will definitely go 5.
Yeah. Abreu, I'm a little concerned. He's been battling a flu, and he's repeated negative COVID tests. They're not sure if he's going to play game 1, but they're expecting him for game 2.
Interesting for the Astros, I saw that they're going with McCullers. Lance McCullers is pitching the first game, not Zach Greinke.
That I'm not surprised about.
Greinke's always had that reputation for not being a big game, big audience pitcher.
Right, but he's also been a little dinged up, and he has not been throwing that well.
Right. Now, you got Framber Valdez and Urquidy. I like the Astros pitching, but not as much as the White Sox. Although at the back end, it could come back and bite you.
It could.
When's Dallas Keuchel make an appearance? Your favorite pitcher.
God, I don't know that. I haven't even looked at the roster.
Could be a revenge thing for him.
It could be. Now I know with Lynn, the Astros have hit him consistently. I will have to see how that plays out.
All right, we're just getting in. So I want Dave's prediction, World Series teams, and the winner.
God.
I will take. I am going to go with the Cardinals and the Astros. Astros win. Dusty Baker finally gets his first championship ring.
Unfortunately, that's kind of the way I'm leaning. It's the same. The Cards, because the Brewers, they can't hit consistently.
Right. Even though I kind of like the front end of the rotation.
Their back end took a big hit.
The Braves are the worst team. The Braves are the worst team in the playoffs.
They are, by far.
Yes.
The Red Sox, no.
I like the Red Sox, but not their pitching.
No.
Even though, last night it looked better, when you outduel Garrett Cole, That's something.
That's saying something. The Rays, they've been so damn solid. I just don't know that they can carry it home.
This is the problem, and I hate to do this, and I hate to say this. I love Kevin Cash. I love the way he manages the team. I love the way the team has been put together. But yeah, you can only go so far with
starting
a limited
closer.
payroll. You have got to. I'm hearing rumors already this year with the Yankees getting knocked out last night. They're going to go way over the luxury tax.
Yeah,
to stack that team next year. They're going to trade Torres. They're going to trade Sanchez. They're going to sign Correa at short. They're going to try to bring in at least one, if not two pitchers.
It's stupid.
Re-sign Rizzo. They've got to give Judge an extension. They're going to go far beyond.
They got to get rid of Stanton.
No, they can't. They can't. And they love him now because he had a great year. For once, he had a great year. But you can't get rid of him because baseball is all guaranteed money.
Well, if you're going to go, you can't keep adding and adding and adding and not subtract.
Here's my theory. Conspiracy bug that I am. And I bet you'll agree with me on this. Okay, the Dodgers are already
well over.
Yeah, pushing over the cap, right? Pushing over the luxury tax threshold. Now the Yankees want to. What do you bet MLB comes out next year and decides, oh, I think we're going to bump the luxury tax threshold up $20 million.
It wouldn't surprise me. They're going to do anything they can to help the Yankees.
And the Dodgers. Yeah.
Bullshit, but you're right. They will. They'll bump it up.
What I want to see, I want to see a hard cap and a hard floor.
Yes.
You make the Pirates, you make the Orioles, you make all these other teams spend, and then you tell the top level teams, you can figure it out and just don't go mad money on us. You be smart and you figure out who you can sign, who you can't, and the rest go in the pool for the other teams.
There you go.
But God forbid, Dave and I would run Major League Baseball because then it would actually be fun again and smart again and competitive again. And the Yankees might have to actually figure out how to run a team that could actually compete without spending
a crap ton of money.
$220 million every year. Hell yeah.
And sorry, Players Association, you're not getting guaranteed contracts.
No. We go to the NFL model. You get a base level guaranteed salary, and then the rest of it,
the signing bonus.
Right.
And then the rest, if you play it out, fine. If you get cut, bye-bye.
All right, NASCAR.
Oh, you didn't want to talk about the Cubs getting ready to extend Rossi?
Not really.
You know you're going to wind up with a new hitting coach?
I don't want to talk about the Cubs. I would like to move on to something.
You want to wait for a new game planner and catcher coach?
I knew they were going to keep Ross, even though I still think it's a disaster. They were better without him in the stretch where he was out with COVID.
They had a nice run going there.
So, no, I don't want to talk about the Cubs.
All right.
No.
NASCAR, the Dega disaster.
In more ways than one. Not just the wrecks, not just the rain delay, not just the fact that, again, finally, we knew it was coming. They figured out a way to give Bubba Wallace a win. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, because they made it rain. They made the guys wreck. And they made Bubba get the lead at that moment. They choreographed the whole damn thing. Bullshit.
No, I say bullshit. I've always said bullshit with these rain-delayed or rain-shortened races. It's not like baseball, where there's 162 games, and if you have to call a game due to rain, baseball does their best to replay the game. They will do their best. They'll suspend a game. NASCAR, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. So we've got to give Bubba the win.
No different than any other driver who's won a rain-delayed race.
No, that's bullshit. It's not a legitimate win, in my opinion.
And that's why
All the
it doesn't
Pocono
count.
crap with Chris Buescher. You goddamn know. When was the last time we had a legitimate winner in a NASCAR race? McDowell was the last one where they actually ran a full race,
And
got
you
through
had
to
a
the end,
first-time winner.
or somebody who wasn't expected to win.
Yeah.
Dinger?
On the road course.
But that was shortened, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was a shortened one, too.
Tell me when the last time we had a goddamn race that ran the full length where we had somebody who wasn't expected to win, first, second, third time winner. No, but we can't. We got to stop this right now. Get Bubba Wallace his first win. Yeah, we got to do that right now.
They weren't going to be able to get the track dried.
There is a problem with the schedule, then. Stop running these races. You just got to go to the West Coast. I'm sorry. I know you and I hate the West Coast. Put them on the West Coast. Put them in. I am tired of this crap. There is no way a championship race midway through the playoffs should be shortened and determined by weather after a weather delay of a day. There is no way in hell.
The other problem is Degas should not be in the playoffs.
I agree.
Because it wouldn't have been in that position with that type of racing anywhere else.
Let me ask you this. You want a perfect analogy to this? If last night's game, the Yankees and the Red Sox, rain had started pouring down in the sixth inning, what would they have done? Red Sox up 3-1. What would they have done?
They'd have delayed it until it stopped.
And what if it rained all through the night?
They should cancel.
Yeah, you can't answer it because you know I'm right.
No, I just said they should cancel it. It should be done at that point. If you can't get it in, you cannot carry it over to the next day.
There's no way in hell they would ever do that.
Over halfway,
they would try to get the whole game in. You know I'm right. They would never, in a playoff situation, ever do that.
We'll never know.
Yankees fans would have freaking burned down Fenway Park. They would have driven up to Massachusetts
and just answered the question why they were going to try and make it happen because it was the freaking Yankees. Any other team, it wouldn't matter. You just shot your own thing in the
playoff race. If it's a playoff game, you finish it completely. And I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear the rain. I don't want to hear the weather. We all know with racing it's different. But at the same time, suck it up, Buttercup. Run the rest of the race on Tuesday then. I don't care. Get it over with. Run the whole thing. Figure it out. I don't want to hand Bubba Wallace. I don't care if Bubba Wallace won. That's not my point. My point
he would feel the same way whoever won.
I told Dave in the break. I said, the fact is, the people that picked anybody who finished in the top 10 at the random point, they decided to stop the race, got bonus points. You got screwed out of them.
Well, here's the thing. They ended the race. They made it official. In what race this year that was official have any bonus points been handed out?
I rest my case. Once again, the maestro has proven his point.
No, you said because they didn't finish stage 2, yet they awarded stage 2 points.
Right.
That's bullshit. You're setting the precedent now. The race ended before stage 2 ended. All right. End of the race. Stage points are not awarded at the end of stage 3, are they?
No.
At the end of a race.
No.
It's the end of the race. Stage 2 is not completed. You do not award stage 2 points in this
scenario. I agree completely with Dave on this.
Because
he
now
doesn't
you just
realize
set
it,
the
but he's
precedent.
proving my point. They make the rules up as they go along, and I don't like it. NASCAR does, and I can't stand it.
It's absolute crap. So now I fully expect everybody in the top 10 at the end of stage 3 to get the bonus points as well. You can't have one without the other.
And I'm surprised more drivers who think
Didn't
like
get
Ryan
pissed.
Blaney, who you had, who I wanted to take, but I went away from the plan and it fucked me up the ass.
I mean, that is absolute crap.
You
don't do that.
You don't have the ability to get up in the top 10 at the end of the stage. So how do you get screwed on that?
NASCAR effed that up completely.
It's like stopping a football game at the end of the third quarter and saying, we're done. And the team that had the ball down by 3 points says, wait a minute.
Whoa,
why don't we get the chance to try to score?
We've got
You're assuming we won't score.
We've got 1st and 10 at their 45.
Right. It's like Blaney, you goddamn well know Blaney would have gotten the top 10 by the end of the stage. I know it.
Everybody
knows
you know
it. But no, because they decided we're going to stop it right now arbitrarily.
Then you cannot award the stage points.
Thank you for agreeing with me. Once again.
On that point.
Thank you for once again.
That NASCAR makes their own rules.
That the maestro is the genius of all sports.
We'll agree to disagree on that.
Congrats to Bubba Wallace.
Yep.
I hope he wins another race legitimately.
I would really like to see Bubba win a race, a full race.
Yes.
I mean, so many times he's put himself in a position
up
front.
I know. He was a little bit arrogant and cocky about this, which I did not like either. He was a little bit arrogant about posing and, I don't like Bubba Wallace. I'm sorry. Ever since the news thing, I don't like him. I think he's a jackass.
All right. Next topic.
Picks. Playoff race 6.
The Roval at Charlotte.
The Bank of America 400. Well, we thought we were going to get all Chase Elliott, and we're close. But a couple people who have either used Chase already or have decided not to use him yet for some strange, insane reason. 7 of our 8 panelists are in with their picks. Dave and I, along with Sam.
Oh, no. Mrs. C got hers in.
But she's taken.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Only 2 have gone against the road course king, Chase Elliott. Dave and I have alluded to this, the strategy.
Yep.
You had to. The one thing you had to do in the chase was hold on to Chase Elliott for this race. So 6 of the 8 of us, as Dave said, Mrs. C just got her pick in. 6 of the 8 of us have held on tightly to Chase Elliott.
Yes.
Hopefully not in an uncomfortable way.
In the backseat of a Volkswagen? For all you Mallrats fans out
Bill
there.
and Aaron are clutching tightly to Ryan Blaney.
Aaron having taken Chase this last weekend.
Yeah. These 2 picks kind of shock me, especially Bill, because he made a great move up to the front this week. He's in second now behind Doug.
Yeah. I'm sticking to the plan.
Yeah, we saw how well that worked out for me last week going away from the plan. So I appreciate your thought process because, going away from the plan last week
bit you in the ass.
Yeah, I was
more so than
I was in a very uncomfortable place in the back of a Volkswagen last week with William Byron. So
there we go.
yeah, so we're heading over the halfway point in the playoffs in NASCAR and in the Frenzy Cup. This week, not so exciting because we're all kind of simpatico.
Yep. We'll see how it plays
The
out.
last four will be very interesting. Not for me, of course, because I'm out. So
He's out, Jerry.
yeah. Slap my money down. I'm out. I'm out of the contest. I might as well take Eric Almirola and Stenhouse. Maybe some, I don't know, Chase Briscoe. Because what the hell does it matter? I'm done. I'm cooked. But we didn't mention this in baseball. I won the Field of Frenzy.
Yes, you did. Congratulations. Well
Thank you
picked
very
down
much.
the stretch.
And I set a record with the most wins ever. So
yep.
I'm not one to toot my own horn because nobody around here appreciates me. Nobody congratulates me outside of my best friend.
You got a couple.
You and Bill.
Yes,
you and Bill. Everybody else ignored me. Ignored my accomplishment. And I will remember that for future reference.
Duly noted.
Bastards. Jealous bastards.
I'm the one who should be pissed.
You had the lead most of the year.
Yep, but my picks did not show up the last couple weeks.
So we'll let Dave vent in the last segment with our moments of silence and our dumbasses of the week. Stay tuned, kids. We'll be right back. Are you tired of getting body slammed by the mainstream sports media? Are you sick of their lame trash talk? Check out Sports Frenzy 2.0. We're the tag team of the Maestro and the Conquistador. Pile drive those jackasses into submission. Available on all major podcast hosts, including Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. Kev and Dave slap a figure 4 on all the major sports networks who lie, kiss ass, and refuse to take names. New episodes drop every Thursday with new weekend edition episodes every Saturday. And that's the bottom line, 'cause Sports Frenzy said so.
All right, kids, welcome back to the last segment here of the October 6th Sports Frenzy 2.0 Sports Edition. I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
I'm the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
And we're going to pick up on some miscellaneous stuff that we haven't gotten to yet. We've got our dumbasses and a couple of moments of silence.
We forgot in baseball a couple of big things. Number one, Joe West is retiring. How did we miss that? We were talking so much about the postseason, talking so much about the evil empire getting knocked down, that we forgot to mention the fact that the worst umpire, arguably next to Angel Hernandez of all time,
I was just gonna say,
is finally leaving the game.
Hallelujah!
Thank you.
Hallelujah! Thank God Almighty, Joe West is gone.
There's got to be a song there, a parody song somewhere we can put together, something. A promo.
Oh, we're going to
have... Mr. Triple Chin is finally leaving the game of baseball.
God.
Him and his terrible calls and his showboating, trying to always be the center of attention.
Yep, in the most
instead of letting the game
way.
Be the focus, he always wanted to be
the focus.
The man, the myth, the legend.
And now he's got it with umping the most games of anyone in the history of baseball.
So appropriate that the Conquistador did a brilliant Yoda promo this week. Could almost, I guess, more Jabba the Hutt. Maybe Jabba the Hutt would have been more appropriate.
Joe West is more Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. But, yeah. So we get him gone. Now we need to get Angel Hernandez out.
Oh my God!
And things might be better in Major League Baseball.
They would be so much better. But good for Joe to retire. Please go off into that good night.
Got a couple managers who've already been fired in baseball. We're only a couple days into the postseason. The Mets let Luis Rojas go, which is no shock.
Nope. And then
that team is still a mess, despite the fact
that they put money into them.
Steve Cohen bought them and put money into them. And now you've got a pampered, let's see if we've heard this before, a pampered $300 million superstar who wants his best buddy
to be re-signed.
For another $300 million.
Yeah, guess what? Baez is not worth that kind of money.
No.
Not even close. And then also another expected firing. Padres got rid of Tingler.
Yep, Jace Tingler gets fired. That team underperformed so badly.
Oh, that was
so bad.
Awful.
At least Luis Rojas had the excuse of not having Jacob deGrom for at least half the season.
Yeah.
I mean, Tingler had no excuse.
There was no excuses.
Tatis did have issues. He had a couple separations of his shoulder through the year.
But still, that wasn't enough.
He put up MVP numbers. He still put up MVP numbers.
And they underperformed.
Right.
And this is probably, outside of Robin Ventura, one of the worst managerial hires.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't think anybody would have, and halfway through the season, this is what it was looking like it was going to be. Nobody would have criticized him if they came in third in the West, but gone into the wild card game against the Dodgers or the Giants. But the fact they shit the bed as bad as they did.
And fell off so badly.
Finished under 500.
Yeah.
How terrible is that for that team? With
high expectations, expecting to win or at least contend.
Now,
more.
Here's my question for you, Conquistador. This is like like we were talking about Urban Meyer in the first segment with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if he decides, he somehow implodes, I'm done. Okay, I can't have a lap dance without you guys criticizing me. I'm out. I'm done. That might be a very attractive place to go, considering you got Trevor Lawrence. If I was like a Buck Showalter or a very reputable, prestigious manager
that is a history, dream team to manage.
I would. I think there'd be people dying to get that job.
They should be lined up to take that Padres gig.
Right. So I think that's what the Padres ownership is looking at: is we can't do this anymore.
No,
we gave him a year. We gave him the best possible lineup we possibly could. He failed. Miserably. Now we go and tell everybody, open season, best man in. Come on, take this job.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. That is a primo position right now.
And I tell you what, if they hire some no-name guy like this again,
they deserve what they get.
There's got to be somebody out there. I don't know. Do you get Mike Matheny? Do you pull him away from the Royals? Because he's in hell. He's in hell.
The Royals are baseball hell. Matheny deserves a shot.
He's a better manager than that. You've got to bring. That would be, to me, your least acceptable hire for the Padres. Somebody like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's got to be Buck Showalter. It's got to. You bring Don Mattingly in, maybe from the Marlins.
Maybe. Is there any bench coach out there that you would trust with them?
Again, with this team is a win now team. Here's a crazy thought. I've got one crazy thought. Depending on this team, looks like they want to spend money. They're willing to spend money. Do you go out and get Kevin Cash away from the Rays and say $10 million a year? $10 million, you manage the Padres.
Oof, that would be interesting.
You throw unbelievable money at Kevin Cash
for 1 year.
No, you'd have to sign him for 4 or 5,
at
least. But you offer him an astronomical amount of money per year, $10 million a year. I think that's what you got to do. I think phenomenal. That's what you've got to do.
God, can you imagine?
Tampa Bay doesn't deserve Kevin Cash.
No, they don't. They
Tampa
don't
Bay,
spend
I'm sorry.
anything.
I love Tampa Bay. I love the Rays. I do. I love what they've done, but it's got at some point you can't keep doing this.
If you want to sustain. You can't keep build. Oh, we're at the pinnacle. All right, we're gonna get rid of everybody. Build at the pinnacle. Get rid of everybody.
It actually worked better for the Marlins. The Marlins actually did that and got 2 titles.
Yeah.
You guys haven't got a title yet.
But they never spent anywhere near what the Marlins did either.
The Marlins have gotten to the World Series twice and did not win.
Yeah, the Marlins spent the money. The Rays, they just draft.
Right. No, the Rays are a very solid organization. But if you're Kevin Cash, do you really want to subject yourself to this year after year where you just don't have the players to win everything because they're not spending the money? Or do you go to San Diego where the players are you have there. The greatest young player in baseball there for another decade?
Yeah.
Along with Manny Machado for another 5 or 6 years, along with Darvish, along with Mark Melanson, who's now turned back into one of the best closers. He had a couple down years. You've got everything in place.
It's tailor-made.
Yes. That's why I'm saying this should be the most attractive job we've seen in baseball in the last decade.
Yeah. Agreed. You can't go wrong with that one.
Hockey.
Wow. Bombshell out of Vegas goalie Robin Lehner accusing NHL teams of handing out prescription drugs without prescriptions. Ambien, benzodiazepine, which I think
Bless you.
Yeah, it's like an ADHD medication type thing. Not a good situation, and he's, I guess, been meeting with NHL top brass and the tops of the Players Association, saying everything that he knows, and kind of calling out a few of his former teams, kind of implying that the Flyers did it. Their head coach, Alain Villeneuve, took umbrage. I do not dispense any drugs, blah, blah, blah. No, Lehner was just calling you out for being, as I think the quote was, a dinosaur as a head coach for your poor treatment of players. So a lot going on with Lehner.
And, of course, the NHL season will start the 12th of October. So by the time we do next episode, we will be full in to the NHL season. And of course, ESPN and TNT are now taking over broadcasting.
We'll see what happens there.
So the Blackhawks are scheduled to play after we tape next week's episode.
Yep.
They'll be in Colorado taking on the Avalanche. So no conflicts there.
No conflicts. I won't have to be keeping track of what's going on.
Maybe on the weekend edition when we tape that, you might have to.
I may have
pay attention
a little. We'll see how that goes. Vaccination. Unvaccinated players in the NHL are going to be an issue. They're mandating vaccinations for everybody. And there are a few holdout players.
Of course.
And it's already come out that if they don't play, they're not getting paid. Both the NHL and the NHL Players Association have agreed on that. So we'll see if the holdouts.
And it's interesting because, of course, we've talked about the NBA, and we've got news on that where the two big holdouts have gone in vastly different areas and different ways. Andrew Wiggins of Golden State decided to get vaccinated.
I'm not going to put my team at risk. I'm getting vaccinated. I'm going to play. I'm going to get paid.
And, of course, our runner-up with Naomi Osaka for Dumbass of the Year, Kyrie Irving has stayed silent on this. Nobody knows what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He has not shown up to practice yet because nobody knows if he's going to
be vaccinated or not. And, you know, the NHL has a hard stance. Not only can the player not be paid, teams that they're on could be subject to having to reimburse everything, subject to losing draft picks. They're taking it very seriously.
Well, have you noticed? Remember, we talked about the NFL put that hard stance in
Yeah.
and said that. Have you heard anything?
Nope.
Now, I think New England had a couple players this week go on the COVID list, but when you're talking about money, hard, cold cash,
Things
all
get
of
done.
a sudden, yeah, things start getting done, things start getting resolved, like with Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
You know, the minute they start threatening his livelihood, oh, I'll get the shot. Yeah, I'll get the shot.
Yeah.
Now, Kyrie's a nut job. Kyrie has got enough money where I could see him taking a stand, quote unquote,
and not getting it.
And that's fine, because the sooner he gets out of my life, the happier I'll be, because he's just a distraction.
And you know what?
In the sports world,
the
that
Nets
I don't need.
will be a better player without a better team without him.
Yeah, but then they're saying now, well, then Harden won't resign.
Do they? Who cares at this point?
You know,
that's another distraction.
Kevin Durant
is
going to. They're saying Kevin Durant's going to get screwed because he committed to the Nets because they gave him all that money for sitting on the bench for a year because of his Achilles injury, and then he brought in Harden, he brought in Kyrie, and now it's going to be just him.
You know what? Maybe that's what he needs.
That's karma, baby. That's karma.
All right.
Moments of silence.
You know, I mentioned a couple. Actually, there's only one, but it's a big one. Eddie Robinson, who had been the oldest living former Major League player, has passed away. The last surviving member of the 1948 World Series team. The last time the Indians won anything. So, condolences to his family and friends.
I do have one moment of silence, not a legitimate one, so I'm not trying to denigrate anybody who actually passed away, but I have a moment of silence for the Brooks Koepka Bryson DeChambeau feud, because now it's been announced that they're going to play against each other in the match coming up here in November. I think it's 12 holes.
Yeah.
So now, are they going to be all buddy-buddy? This is the worst thing that could happen for golf.
They are not going to be buddy-buddy. There's going to be something that comes up.
But they'll edit it for TV. You know we won't get...
It's going to go off the rails. This Kumbaya Ryder Cup moment can only last so long.
This is wrong. You're ruining golf for me. Now all of a sudden it's going to be, oh, bring Tiger back. Golf's boring again.
No, keep the feud going, guys.
God,
we need
Brooks, it. Would you let Bryson sleep with your girlfriend? Something, something to spice this back up again. Jesus God, please, you gotta get me the feud going again.
That's what made it fun. All right. Dumbass time.
Dumbasses of the week. The Red Foreman dumbasses. I will start with former NBA player Lazar Hayward. Kev, why? Who cares about Lazar Hayward?
Who?
Because this is something we talked about a couple weeks ago. He faked his COVID vaccination documents because he didn't want to go into Hawaii and have to deal with the quarantine period.
Ugh.
Dude, it's the world we live in. Deal with it.
Dude, you know the repercussions. It's illegal. You could wind up going to jail and paying a hefty fine for that. That being said, my first dumbass, Evander Kane, NHL Sharks, busted for having a fake vaccination card.
Are you sensing a theme here, kids?
Dude, this is not good on any level.
We're not. Again, Dave and I, we're both vaccinated, but we're not telling people if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's fine. That's your choice.
Stay the hell home and mask up.
You got to play by the rules at some point. You've got to.
If your livelihood requires it, then you get it.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving, if Kyrie Irving does not want to get vaccinated, that's fine. Then here's what you do. You resign your position from the Nets, you give up your contract, you give up that money, and you go home and watch Netflix all day. That's fine. You have that right. I wish I could do that. He's got so much money, he could do it.
It doesn't matter for him.
But some of us have to go to work. Some of us have to make a living. And unfortunately, some of us have to abide by the rules that the government has set down. You're not going to be tracked. You're not going to be infertile. I'm sorry. The paranoid idiots out there saying, the government is going to find out where you are. The phone.
Guess what? Do you have a freaking cell phone, moron?
Your cell phone is already telling them where you are. So give it up.
And you're already telling everybody where you're at when you're on social media, idiots.
There's infrared satellites above all of us all the time. Get over it.
Every time you check in on Facebook, oh, I'm here, I'm there. Guess what? You're doing their job for them.
They know what you watch, when you watch, how you watch it, what you're cooking for dinner, and how many times you're whacking off. So get over it. As long as you're not killing somebody or raping somebody or murdering somebody, what are you hiding? What are you hiding? Get over it. Get a shot. Let us all get over this and be done with it.
All right. You're next, dumbass.
Just missed this last week. Just missed it by like an hour.
Ugh.
Missed it by that much. Milwaukee relief pitcher Devin Williams, who was actually a very integral part of their bullpen, a setup man for Josh Hader, punches the wall while they're celebrating their NL Central title, breaks his hand, he's out for the rest of the season.
Idiots.
How many times have we had to go through stuff like this? How many times have we had to talk about the stories like this, Dave, where these guys break their hands punching a wall or they're moving stuff?
Doing something stupid.
Nathan Eovaldi. Let me tell you this. I heard this last night. This is a great story to wrap up. Nathan Eovaldi, who pitched last night's wild card game for the Boston Red Sox. Now, he was very good. Let up one run, I think, in 5 2/3 innings. Beyond the fact that he was grunting after every pitch. Because they had extra microphones planted all over the
We
the
don't
stadium.
need that crap.
When he signed, he got a 4-year, I want to say, $68 million extension. When he got the news, he was up on the roof stapling and tacking on Halloween lights. And the guys who were telling the story said, I hope the hell he immediately climbed down, and I hope his agent told him, get the hell off the roof!
Don't do it.
You don't need to be doing stuff like this. Get down and sign the contract.
Pay somebody else to do it for you now.
If I had that money, if Dave had that money, if either of us had that money, do you think we'd be putting ourselves in any risk like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would. You would. You would. I wouldn't. I'd be wrapped up in bubble wrap.
It's baseball. It's guaranteed.
But he hadn't signed the contract.
Well, there is that. So you come down, sign the contract, and you go right back up.
What, light yourself on fire while you're doing it too?
Sure, why not?
Oh, Jesus. God!
Right. Final dumbass to wrap up. Christian McCaffrey's brother, Max, is an assistant coach for North Colorado's NCAA football team. Upset that They were getting destroyed. Breaks his clipboard, throws it behind him into the crowd, and winds up hurting one of the opposing fans. Absolute stupid temper tantrum by an immature idiot.
I thought you were going to say he actually threw the clipboard and hurt his brother.
That would have been poetic, wouldn't it?
Because his brother can't stay healthy.
Yeah. Nope, the stupidity of people is mind-boggling.
Yeah. Yeah, what a wild week. A fun, wild week. We got baseball playoffs starting. So, of course, next week we will cover everything that's happened right now outside of the Yankees, the evil empire getting ousted. And, of course, they're saying, we're not going to make any changes. You know, Boone's going to stay as the manager. Cashman's going to stay as the general manager. Fine. You're accepting mediocrity? Fine.
Oh, we'll just throw more money at it.
Right. And again, goddamn, I'm telling you, they are going to bump up the luxury tax threshold to help the Dodgers and the Yankees, especially if the Dodgers lose tonight to the Cardinals.
Yep.
Of course, we've got football next week. Football. We're over halfway through the NASCAR playoffs next week.
Recap the Roval, so...
And that is the second elimination race.
Yes, so...
We'll be down to 8 with 4 races to go. And, of course, please check out the weekend edition.
Yep. Shoot us a message. Send us questions. Rank us.
Check out the Facebook
Let us know
page.
You're alive.
Yes. The weekend edition, we will be doing our tribute to James Bond.
Yes, we will.
We did talk a lot about Bond last week, but we will be doing even more this week in anticipation of No Time to Die, the final Daniel Craig James Bond movie.
Yes.
So you can't miss that.
Stay tuned.
You can't miss that.
Kids. Can't.
Check that out this weekend.
All right.
We love you.
We'll talk to you next week.